And before I forget, I just want to acknowledge, since this is the first service that we've had since the Monica Parker's memorial service here after church last Sunday night, and I want to thank the Inner Light community so much for how we showed up. The family sends all of its thank yous because we provided not just a facility, a space, but a consciousness, a womb where they really felt supported and held and able to move through everything that they went through. I had sent something out through social networking, and it said here, and I wasn't kidding when I said we were going to have a Pentecostal service up in here. And we did. And it was great. It was wonderful. It took me way back home. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who helped, because that was a big endeavor. That was a full house. That was a packed house, and it was wonderful. So thank you. Thank you so much for everybody's love and light and appreciation. And I do believe, is that on YouTube now? It's archived on our side. Inner Light Ministries live.com. It's archived there. So if you missed it and you want to see that, you know, do all 2.5 to 3 hours of it. And it's worth every second. It was good. It was really, really good. So thank you again. Our theme this month is empowerment. And my topic today is what you appreciate appreciates. That actually is a saying and a phrase that was coined by Lynn Twist. Her book, The Soul of Money, is part of our educational curriculum here. She's one of the founders of the Pachamama Alliance. I serve on the board of that organization. And another shameless plug, also before I forget, November 20th is the annual Pachamama Luncheon that's quite popular at Fort Mason in San Francisco. It is also live streamed, noon to 1:30. And it's an extraordinary organization that we have teamed up with many times, and I think that they really epitomize some of what we're talking about, empowerment, and what you appreciate appreciates. What you appreciate appreciates. The English language is a very challenging language to learn, in that it not only has a lot of irregularities, more words than just about any other language in the world, but the words also have dual meanings, at least two, sometimes multiple meanings. It's actually hard to find words in the English language that only have one meaning. Anything, even the most basic thing, you know, light. I mean, how many different kinds of light are there, from color to weight to a match, just all these, or floor. You know, what does it mean to have a floor? There's just multiple meanings. And there's a way in which the word appreciate means to express gratitude or thanksgiving, and the word appreciate as a verb also means to increase value. So when property is said to appreciate, it means that it appreciates in its value. Okay? There is a relationship, I contend, between appreciate gratitude and appreciate things increasing in their value. Okay? There is a relationship between these things. And what Lynn is saying is that what we express gratitude for increases in its value. And I keep saying the word value because when we tend to think of the concept of increase, most of the time we're thinking quantity. That there isn't an increase unless there's physically, tangibly more of it. But increase can also happen in richness and in depth. So catch that. The more that you're looking for is not necessarily extra stuff, the more may be quantitative, might be qualitatively an improvement right where you are. This is so important because we live in a society that hops around from one thing to another. So when we're dissatisfied with this thing, we just go get another one. We do that with people, places, and things. You don't like this job, you get another one. You don't like this community, you get another one. You don't like this relationship, you just get another one. You get another car, you get another this, you get another blah, 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 blah. And it is a consciousness that we have grown into of the disposable. The disposable. More easily replaced than protected, nurtured, or salvaged. Disposable. We've gotten into disposable just about everything. And this kind of just get rid of it, just throw it away. And I remember this very poignant moment in one of the ecological videos of Butterfly, what's her last name? I can't think of it now. Yes, Butterfly Hill, where she's up in a tree as the loggers are coming in to like cut down the tree. And she says, everybody keeps saying like, just throw it away, throw it away. And she just is poignant, she says, where is a way? Where is a way? There's no away. I remember being in the airport, and they had these advertisements, and it was trying to explain the different bins for recycling and all these different things. So for the one that had trash, it had this little boy like throwing something into it, and at the bottom it said, final destination. Yeah. You know, and I thought to myself, that's part of our problem now. Is that we don't think what's next. Just boom, you put it in that trash can, that's the final destination. I don't have to think about it, I don't have to worry about it. Just We need to appreciate our planet more. We need to appreciate our planet more. We are depreciating its value because we're not appreciating it enough. Okay. What you appreciate appreciates. You'll often hear me say, kind of like the book Everything I Ever Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten, that there's hardly any concept that we wouldn't get or understand spiritually if we would just be willing to look at it through the eyes of someone very young who's needing to learn something. We're parenting ourselves. God has given us custody of us. Catch that. You have custody of you. You have to make the decisions for what's best for you. What you're going to do, what you're going to consume, where you're going to go, who you get to hang out with, what your future's going to be, and all that. You have custody of you. Now, sometimes I question the wisdom, but, you know, I'm not God. You're very lucky. Because if I was God, I would not have shared my co-creative power with you. I wouldn't. God trusts you a lot more than I do. I'm just saying. Sometimes people ask me, well, Reverend Deborah, you know, what do I trust? Who do I trust? And I say, I trust God to be God. And I trust people to be people. That's what I trust. And when you mix those two up, oh, it's not pretty. When you think of God as just a person, or when you are making people gods, oh, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. We have an ability to create something. Now, when you think about it, and even if you don't parent, I'm sure you've been around somebody younger than you at some point in time. Big sister, whatever, auntie, cousin, or whatever. When kids start getting into the, I don't have enough, you know, I don't have this, I don't have anything to wear, I don't have anything to play with, I don't have anything, and now, this little person may be in you. It very well could be in you. And I don't have any of that. What's our typical response that we do? Like, time out. Let's do a reality check, okay? Let's do a reality check, okay? And they used to call it count your blessings when I was growing up. Count your blessings, which was a way to take stock. Notice what's there. Pay attention to what you do have. Quit paying all your attention to what you think you don't have. And if you just acknowledge a little bit of what you do have, then it won't look so barren. Because energy can't be contained. The attitude you have about one thing you bring with you everywhere. So you can't have lack and limitation just about this. You can't have not enoughness just about your toys. Because if you think you don't have enough toys, then you don't have enough clothes. And you don't have enough clothes, then where you live isn't enough. And where you live isn't enough, then your job's not right. And then your job, it just, you can't be out of sorts in the particular. If you leave the house mad, the only thing you've left is the house. The mad comes with you. You can't leave mad at the house. Because if you're mad, you're going to take it with you. Then you're mad at the traffic. You're mad at this thing and that thing. And have you noticed when you get into that energy, everything starts to fall apart? The door jams, the coffee spills, you scrape this thing, that thing, until at some point you just got to go, enough. Enough. I'm done with this story about how bad the day is and how awful everything is, because I just get proven right. The universe says yes. Won't you catch that? The universe says yes. It is mirroring back to us wherever we are and whatever it is we're putting into it. So if you say it's wonderful, universe says yes. And you get to see all the evidence of what's wonderful. You say it sucks, you get to see all the evidence of that. And because life is a continuum, okay, a continuum, the outer expressions of life are always a continuum, open on both ends. There is no end, it's infinite. There's infinite number of high vibration, infinite amount of low vibration. Are you with me? Infinite amount of light, infinite amount of darkness. There is no shortage of anything at any place. So if your consciousness is riveted in any particular place, there will be an infinite amount of evidence to back up whatever you think. There will be, breathe on that. If you think the world is against you, there will be infinite amount of evidence to back that up. if you think you are a special emanation of God and that everything is working together for your good, there will be an infinite amount of evidence to back that up. And I contend that what takes us from one of those to the other is gratitude. It's appreciation. Appreciation empowers. If we go back again to what does a little kid need? What does a little kid need? You want to empower a little kid? Appreciate them. Just appreciate them. Show them some love. Because with that appreciation comes the value. As you express gratitude for them, their sense of self-value goes up. When we're feeling devalued inside, we are lacking appreciation for ourselves. Yes? That devaluation feeling that we have inside is the evidence of the lack of appreciation. We keep waiting for stuff to change so I can appreciate it more. Like if things are low down here and I don't like what's going on down here, I'm waiting for something to happen, something to change. Give me something to be thankful about. Here's this thing about gratitude. We make gratitude a response. We make thank you on the back end. We make thank you the thing that we do if something happens that we like. Short of me liking it, there's no gratitude. Give me something to like, and then I'll say thank you. But I'm not going to say thank you until first I see something and I better like it. Because if I don't like it, I'm not going to be grateful. But it's the other way around. I can't express that enough. It is the other way around. Wake up grateful. Not just thank you, a specific response, but a grateful spirit, an appreciative spirit. Not just an action that you take on and off. Think about it for a moment. Everything is energy. What is the energy field of people who are chronically unappreciative? What is that energy field? Nasty, complaining, judgmental, depressed, bitter, frustrated. It's like they suck the energy right out the room. We talk about empowerment. We can bring each other up and we bring each other down because we're all breathing in each other's secondhand consciousness. We're filling up the atmosphere with each other's secondhand consciousness. Okay? What's the energy field of people who are appreciative? People who you can just tell they just have kind of a gracious attitude about life. What is that energy field? It's sweet. There's something that's bright. It's pleasing. In their presence, you feel more alive. There's a radiance. It's as though they infuse every place that they go with the light. They don't even have to say anything. They could just be sitting there, walking in the room, I'm sure everybody has that experience. I can think of my old church that I grew up in. Used to call them the mothers of the church. And they'd sit in the front in white. And they just knew something. They just knew something. You know, and I joke about that sometime. You know, I was always fronting because they'd bust you. You all right, baby? Mm-hmm. Yeah, your mother so-and-so. Mm-hmm. Now, you sure you all right? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And by the third time, it'd be like, okay. Well, whatever it is, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right, baby. A little touch, a little embrace or something like that. And you know what? I knew it was going to be all right. I knew. I didn't have the consciousness to understand, you know, prayer and energy and, you know, all this, like how all of it worked. But I knew that they knew something. And I knew that their appreciation for everything, regardless of what was going on, was bringing a richness and a sweetness to life. Okay? Our lives can be so much richer if we just bring a little bit of gratitude into it. Up front, not after the fact. Because I promise you, if you start off grateful, you'll see more to be grateful for. If you start off grateful, there will be fewer things that will bother you and that will get on your nerves. You'll just be less botherable. What you appreciate, appreciates. There's something about that energy. I'm sure I mentioned this here a couple of weeks ago. The Imam Michael Salam, who is someone that we do a lot of prison outreach work with that in our early days. And we would supply, a lot of times, their Eid celebrations or their interfaith banquets. Interlight would sponsor. We'd pick up the tab and make these different kinds of contributions. And he would talk to the men about being appreciative. I remember this one thing that he said, and it struck me, and I've thought about it through the years, and he was so right. He says, a lack of gratitude is the first sign of an unbeliever. I had to think about that. A lack of gratitude is the first sign of an unbeliever. And he was so right. Because when I start getting into a lack of gratitude, I stop believing. When I start getting into a lack of gratitude, I stop affirming the goodness of life. I stop acting like it's a friendly universe. I stop acting like all things are working together for my good. I just forget. But with that sense of the appreciation, things appreciate. There's a value that comes out of it. And yes, it might actually multiply. But what's going to multiply first is something in you. What's going to multiply is your possibility consciousness. What's going to multiply in you is your capacity to experience more good. What's going to multiply in you is your power. Is your power. I cannot explain enough how powerful we are. You can't lose your power. You cannot lose it. You can choose not to use it, but you can't lose it. Nobody else can take your power. Nobody else has your power. Sometimes we let other people exercise their power all over us. But there's that moment when you wake up. Think about it for a moment. Think about your own life. Those pivot moments when we decide it's enough. Sometimes we refer to it as the bottom. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. Nobody started acting right. The world didn't suddenly get kinder or whatnot, but you shifted. You said, enough. I don't have to go down this far. Whenever we decide is the now moment. We're waiting for things to happen to make it now, but it's now whenever you take action. We make it now. You can't act in the future. You can't do anything tomorrow. You can't do anything yesterday. The only time you can act is in the now. The now. Don't wait for the gratitude to give gratitude after it happens. You do it now. If I come up to you and I say, you know what? I'm going to give you $5,000. When do you say thank you? Now. You don't wait to see that $5,000, do you? You are grateful now. Life has promised us. God has promised us resilience, peace, power, all the spiritual qualities that we can possibly think of. It's who we are. What we're looking for, we're looking with. God has promised us an endless capacity to express any of it. Just think about that. There is no limit on how much joy you can express. There's no limit on how much peace you can express. There is no limit on how much you can feel. So your body may not be able to do what it used to do, but that doesn't mean you don't feel the rhythm. That doesn't mean that you're not dancing inside. Oh, there was this price moment during Sister Monica's memorial on Sunday when Linda Tillery was up here, and Linda was these braces on both arms getting up here to the stage, and she was right over here, and they were trying to carry her down, and all of a sudden she was breaking it down, holding up on these braces, and couldn't you just get, ooh. She was in it. She was in it. All of a sudden, I'm getting this image of Christopher Reeves, Superman, just completely paralyzed, right? Out on a stretch, directing movies. Directing movies. It reminds me of a commercial I saw. I think it was American Express. But it had a carpenter, and he was carving out these cabinets. It was just exquisitely beautiful. And you could tell he was blind. And he was just feeling the wood. And at some point, he says, I lost my sight, not my vision. Okay, so I lost my sight and not my vision. It doesn't have to be in sight for you to have the vision. You don't have to see it. In fact, it's just the opposite. We have to conceive it to see it. We have to move forward. You have to plant the seeds before you see the orchard. If you take your body, every cell is eavesdropping on your self-talk. What are you telling your body? Are you appreciating your body? Oh, this old bum back. This thing, this bad knee. So if your knee were a child, How many times could you tell your knee how bad it was before it started to act better? Start where you are. Take whatever it is that you have and bless it. As you bless it, its value is going to increase to you. I'm not sure if I need to say this or not, but I feel compelled to say it. In our economy, the way value is defined is how much somebody else would give for it. It doesn't have value until somebody else is willing to pay for it. And its value is just determined by that. So we have this dilemma. Because in that system, things that are rarer, we increase more value to. So if it's something that appears to be common and can be easily obtained, then we don't ascribe it as much value. If anybody could have it, it's not worth as much. If it's easily obtainable and accessible, then it doesn't have as much value. So we have this contradiction between how our economic system works and what's spiritual truth and reality. Because spiritual truth and reality is that inherently we're all equal. Inherently it's all accessible. Inherently it's equally available to everybody, but because of that we don't value it. We don't value it. And I contend we have to flip this. We have to flip this where the first place of value starts with you. And in you, how much are you willing to give for you? No, I'm not going to take care of myself that much because nobody else is doing that for me. No, my paintings don't mean as much. It's not enough just because I painted it and it comes out of my soul. Oh, nobody's buying my paintings, so they're not worth as much. Well, what about this thing? What about that thing? You know what? Some things are priceless. You can't put a price tag on it. Take the price tag off of you. Take the price tag off your hopes and your dreams and who you are, because you're priceless. You're without price. You can't put a price on it. But priceless doesn't mean worthless. Priceless just means that it can't be bought, bartered, exchanged, that it's too infinite to put a price tag on. You're priceless. You're priceless. Each and every one of you is priceless. And if we grow to see ourselves like that, I guarantee that everything about you and your life will be so much richer. Breathe. Let's pray.